Wow, what a weekend. The Chicago White Sox sweep the Red Sox in Boston. Outstanding pitching efforts from starters and the bullpen. Error-free baseball and just enough offense to get the job done. Chicago White Sox return home, riding a 6-game winning streak, and will be greeted, finally, by Yoan Moncada.
You are Locked On White Sox, your daily Chicago White Sox podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hey, Sox fans, welcome to Locked On White Sox. Thank you for making Locked On White Sox your first listen each and every day. We're free and available on all platforms. Follow us on Twitter and Instagram at Locked On Sox. Also, subscribe to our YouTube channel. Just search Locked On White Sox. Today's episode is brought to you by BetOnline. BetOnline has you covered this season with more props, odds, and lines than ever before. BetOnline, where the game starts. Hey, I'm your host, Nick Morawski, a lifelong diehard Chicago White Sox fan, recording this podcast just blocks from the ballpark in beautiful Bridgeport. You can find me on Twitter at Nick_GGTB. Really appreciate you letting me steal some of your time to talk White Sox. Locked On White Sox is part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Hey, Yoan Moncada and potentially Joe Kelly are going to be joining the Sox on Monday. Hopefully. Vince Velasquez and the White Sox bullpen have been electric. But first, how about that weekend of baseball for our White Sox? State of the Sox, they are sitting at 14-13. They do have that minus 13 run differential, and they're still chasing Minnesota. But it is a 6-game winning streak for the White Sox as they swept the Boston Red Sox in Boston. What a difference a week makes. The good guys that wear black, they are playing some outstanding baseball in the month of May. Not scoring a ton of runs, doing just enough to get the job done. But the difference maker has been bullpen numbers. In Boston, they only gave up 1 earned run, 0 errors in the series. Talking about, just starting pitching, bullpen, pitching in general for the White Sox, so different these last 5 to 6 games than when it was like at the start of the season. The first 21 games, Sox 8-13, the ERA 3.89, issuing 4.6 walks per game and 13 unearned runs. Heading into Sunday's series finale against Boston, where, of course, the Sox won 3-2. Sox obviously were 5-0, riding that 5-game winning streak. Starting pitching and bullpen, pitching in general, issuing a 1.37 ERA with 2.4 walks per game, 0 earned runs. Such a difference. You're seeing big-time performances from guys like Foster, Lopez. Vince Velasquez has been a completely different pitcher. We're going to get to those guys throughout this episode. Sunday, was the getaway day. It was kind of had that getaway lineup with Dallas Keuchel on the hill. It was a NBC game with Jason Benetti, Steve Stone, and Kevin Youkilis on the call. Sox won 3-2 against the Red Sox. White Sox having 18 games in 17 days. So, of course, guys are going to get the day off. No Tim Anderson, Lurie Garcia leading off. Danny Mendick was at short. A.J. Pollock given the day off, which he really desperately needed. So it had a feel of a kind of throwaway lineup, maybe, with the series already being won. But you want the sweep, but you also know you've got to manage some time off when you don't have another day off until the 23rd of May. So this was one of those games that, hey, if the Sox can grind out a win, that's a really good sign. That's a confidence boost. And things got off to a kind of a slow start, but Keuchel was he was holding his own. there was a bit of a delay, a 20-minute delay in the fourth. Keuchel's still pitching in that game. Jake Berger was up to bat, and he had a foul ball, and it hit the home plate umpire right in the mask, square, center cut, knocked down home plate umpire. They had to do an umpire change. There was a 20-minute delay, and you're wondering, will Keuchel come back out? It's difficult for a pitcher to be on the bench for that long. Not unusual, but for a guy like Keuchel, maybe that would be something that, he might not be able to bounce back from. But he did come back. He was only at 60 pitches. There were some problems for him in the sixth, though. He had 2 on, 1 out, was able to manage his way around it. Not a bad line for Keuchel. 6 innings pitched, 8 hits, 2 earned runs, 1 walk, 5 strikeouts. He's got his ERA down to 6.86. And then the bullpen came on to help out. The lights out bullpen. Burr, Foster, Ruiz, Souza, giving up 0 walks, 5 strikeouts, and 0 earned runs. Just awesome. And that was really the theme of the weekend and the theme of this 6-game winning streak. Very little offense. The offense has not been, during this winning streak, we haven't seen a lot of power numbers. We haven't seen, the Sox go on any crazy tears offensively. It's just, some timely hitting. And, they're still leaving a lot of guys on base. It's not like they're capitalizing on every moment where they've got runners in scoring position. But, moments come up, they get big hits, and then the bullpen and pitching has been able to completely shut down the opposition. Abreu was the hero on Sunday, big 2-run double. That was pretty much it. The Sox could have gotten more. They were 2 for 9 with runners in scoring position. The White Sox are beating teams that they should beat. They swept, obviously, the Cubs in Wrigley. The Cubs are not a very good team. And then they just swept the Red Sox. Red Sox are not a very good team. They're last place in the AL East. Now, starting this 6-game winning streak, the White Sox were not a very good team. The record showed it. Their numbers showed it, as we talked about at the beginning of this episode, in terms of pitching. The defense was atrocious, just not getting the timely hitting that they needed. And things have flipped. In this month of May, the White Sox have only lost 1 game. Everything has been different. The White Sox, we're going to talk about, they're going to be welcome Cleveland. And the last time we saw Cleveland, boy, we couldn't get out of our own way, committing errors, giving up runs left and right, horrible pitching, and just, offense wasn't there. Hey, it's a 6-game winning streak. The Sox are 14-13. It feels good. And if you've been away from this team, you just kind of turn them off in April, they're a different team right now. And they're going to get some reinforcements, as we're going to discuss. And a guy like Jose Abreu, he is absolutely back. And I'm going to tell you why the timing could not be better. More on that in a moment. BetOnline.net is your number one source for all your betting stats and sports info. Find all the latest sports developments, league reviews, and news, including this year's basketball playoffs and Major League Baseball. BetOnline is your continued source for all your sporting wagering information, from live betting to playoffs, esports, and more. Head to the website today or use your mobile device to learn more about the trends and action. BetOnline, where the game starts. Thank you for making Locked On White Sox your first listen. For your next listen, check out the Locked On Now podcast, recaps of MLB games with analysis from our local experts, taking fans through the season like no other network, free and available wherever you get your podcasts. So let's move to game 2 in this series. It was the Saturday game. Another nail biter. Sox beat the Red Sox 3-1. And the Red Sox were throwing a guy that, coming into the game, his numbers were not there. This is a guy that the White Sox offense should have really pounded on. But Nick Pivetta was absolutely mystifying the White Sox. Sliders and 93-mile-per-hour fastballs down the middle. That was the secret recipe for this guy. Robert couldn't handle him. A lot of these White Sox players, you kind of look at it like, what is he doing? Is he just hiding the ball really well? Is he keeping them off balance? It's not like he was mixing the ball up left and right, up and down. He was throwing pitches right down the middle. And I don't know if it was just the White Sox hitters guessing on something, but they looked completely confused. If you watch the game, you're just shaking your head. Nothing really going for this offense early on. Dylan Cease was on the hill. He looked fine. He wasn't his sharpest self, and he'd probably admit that the command just was not there. He threw a lot of pitches, but it was a solid effort from Dylan Cease. He gave you 5 innings pitched, pretty typical, 4 hits, 1 earned run, 3 walks, 8 strikeouts. He's got his ERA at 2.38. He really just had 1 bad inning where he gave up a run. That's a performance where, the White Sox should win that game. That's a great starting pitching performance from Dylan Cease. Not his best, but a pretty great performance. So no offense really from the Sox before the 9th. Nothing doing at all. Several opportunities. AJ Pollock, who has looked just absolutely lost at the plate. He was 1 for 9 in the series, hitting second, which that should not be happening again. He had some opportunities to drive runs in with men on. He has been really confusing to watch. Definitely not what we thought we were getting offensively. He is, he had those first 2 games of the year in Detroit, hitting everything he could see, hamstring issue. And, he is just looked completely lost. Pollock on his career has played in over 900 games, and his career slash line is 280, 336, 478. I have a feeling he's going to come around. I just think, once he breaks out of it, I think we might see Pollock go on a streak. But now it's really difficult. And to see him hitting second, it's a problem. But we still had to get the job done. Sox offense in the 9th. Jake Berger walked, Engel doubled, and then Lurie Garcia had a sac fly to tie up the game. Ronaldo Lopez in the bottom of the 9th. Boy, he had a gutsy, outstanding performance. He ends up with runners on second and third with 1 out. Bobby Dalbec for the Red Sox comes up hitting 145, and you just had a weird feeling like this guy was going to be maybe the hero for the Red Sox. That's kind of how things have gone at times for our White Sox, but not the case. Got him out, and then Trevor Story comes up, got him to pop up for the 3rd out. Just an outstanding effort from Ronaldo Lopez. He kind of got himself into that situation, and then he was able to get himself out. Great confidence builder, much like Foster's performance up north at Wrigley this past week. Great outing from Lopez. So we go to the extras, and huge leadoff double by Abreu. Pollock was the ghost runner, so to speak, on second. Abreu getting hot at the right time. And with the weather warming up here in Chicago for this coming 7-game series, this is perfect timing for Abreu to get it going. I mean, he was really the difference maker in game 2 and game 3 offensively. Robert comes up. Robert gets a base hit. Sox tack on 2 in the 10th, which is what you really need to do. 1 is not enough when you've already been spotted a runner on second. So for the Sox to get 2 runs in the 10th, the way they did it, that was huge. Again, not a ton of scoring, but like when they needed it, in this past weekend series in Boston, they got it. And when you're pitching, you're starting pitching, when your bullpen especially has been able to shut teams down, that's all you need then, right? At the end of the day, it's just, hey, as long as you have more runs than your opponent, then things are fine. You got a win, it's a win it's a plus in the win column, and you're good to go. Bottom of the 10th, saw Liam Hendriks in for the save, which was, since the Cubs series, he has been a different pitcher, just absolutely electric during the 5-game winning streak. Of course, he didn't pitch on Sunday. He's looked absolutely dominant. Got his 9th save on Saturday. and the Sox ended up getting back to 500 in game 2 of that series. It had to have been a confidence builder for this Sox team. You talk about when players are in slumps and players just, a hitter just needs a bloop single to maybe prove to himself, hey, I can do it. I can get on base. I can come up with a hit. And then things start trending in the right direction. And you kind of feel that way for a team. It hadn't been going well for the White Sox. What could go wrong was going wrong. They weren't helping themselves out with defense and poor pitching. And they got on this streak. And I think that Cubs series in some poor conditions, kind of an emotional, high energy, very dramatic series against your inner city rival. And then going to Boston and just being able to squeak out some wins. Saturday, they really should not have won that game. And to do that in the 9th, and then what they did in the 10th, and Lopez's performance, it had to have been a confidence builder. And in the Chicago Tribune, Lamont Pope had a great article, Sunday morning's edition, and Robert had some quotes, spoke through an interpreter, and Robert said, hey, we had a really tough April, and to win this kind of game gives us hope. Our hope is up. Our confidence is hope. Everything is up. So when you've got that type of feeling where now things are going in our direction, things are just going to come out on top for us. That's a pretty awesome feeling. And again, to leave Boston with that 3-game sweep, not like in dominant fashion, but still, you got the job done in spots where you probably shouldn't have if this was the month of April. It's a new month. Sox are playing really well. Now they get to come home to have some redemption on Cleveland and take on a very tough Yankees team. If you want to put yourself up against a team right now, it's the Yankees. They're playing outstanding baseball. So first things first, though, is Cleveland. The White Sox will be welcoming back Yoan Moncada, and I'm going to tell you why the Guardians are in big trouble. More on that in just a moment. Summer is coming up, and with summer, you're going to need some food on the go. Built Bars are the perfect snack to take with you on family vacations. Throw them in your bag, throw them in the kids' backpacks. Make sure that everyone has a bar so you are fueled for your summer adventures. The best part about Built Bars, they're healthy and delicious. No more sacrificing delicious food for health. With Built Bar, you can have both, and it's easy. All you have to do is go to Built.com and order now. All Built Bars and Puffs are covered in 100% real chocolate. That means that with Built Bar, you can eat healthy and actually enjoy doing it. Have you tried Built Puffs yet? They come in crazy flavors like banana cream pie and even churro. Who doesn't want a protein bar that tastes like a churro? And they're only 140 calories. If that's not enough flavor for you, then you might want to try the mixed box. The mixed box comes with 12 flavors of bars and puffs. Most Built Bars contain 130 calories, 4 grams of sugar, 4 net carbs, and 17 grams of protein. Compare that to a candy bar, which usually has around 240 calories, 30 grams of sugar, and dozens of net carbs. Go to Built.com to get all your favorites: banana cream pie, raspberry, double chocolate, and so many more. They are all delicious, and new flavors are coming out all the time. Check them out at Built.com. So just go to Built.com, use promo code LOCKED15, and get 15% off your order. Use promo code LOCKED15 for 15% off at Built.com. So Friday night was game 1 of the Boston series, and we got to talk about it simply because of Vince Velasquez. This was the Apple TV Plus game. White Sox beat the Red Sox 4-2 to kick off the weekend. A couple miscues by Abreu at first and Engel and right. They weren't scored as errors. So if you looked at the box score, it looked like another clean game defensively. But it was really all about Velasquez once again. He had another great outing. This, of course, was back-to-back outings. He had that great game on the 30th of April. They were giving out those Southside hockey jerseys, and he mystified the Angels. So this was his follow-up outing. Velasquez went 5 innings, 3 hits, 1 earned run, 2 walks, 2 strikeouts. His RA is below 4 now, sitting 3.97. Last 2 starts for Velasquez is combined for 10 plus innings, only 1 earned run, 2 walks, and 8 strikeouts. The bullpen, outstanding. This was the only run given up during the entire weekend series. It happened on Friday. Foster, Bummer, Graveman, and Hendricks came in relief for Velasquez. And of course, just that 1 run that I mentioned. Robert hit a home run in Friday's game that I don't know if it's landed yet. It was an effortless bomb to left field. It wasn't even in, I would say, like his wheelhouse. He almost golfed it out. And that was awesome to see him flex that power on that Apple Plus broadcast. Sheets and Grandal were playing in that game, and they have been really struggling. Grandal had a couple hits on Saturday and Sunday's action, but Sheets has been really disappointing. Going into the weekend, Sheets and Grandal were combined 7 for 46 with 0 home runs. So seeing what happens with the offense once Moncada comes back. McGuire has been catching quite a bit. Has it been too much? I'm assuming he's going to catch again on Monday since it's a Kopech game. I think we need Grandal's bat. We need him to get on base. He showed a little bit of life on Saturday and Sunday. So kind of watching that to see what happens with Sheets. Do they need to make room in this lineup? Does Sheets get sent down? I don't know what they're going to do with him, but he is really scuffling. Hendricks had a save on Friday as he did on Saturday. It has just been all about Sox pitching, limiting walks, and the defense has been so solid. That has been the theme in this 6-game winning streak. Solid pitching from starting bullpen, solid defense, and some timely hitting. Yoan Moncada should be returning to the White Sox lineup. TLR actually even said he's going to be hitting second on Monday. And Michael Kopech will be pitching for the Sox on Monday. Kopech did not pitch against Cleveland the last time the Sox faced the Guardians. So we'll see how that plays out. Looking for some redemption against the Cleveland Guardians. Hopefully the Sox play some clean baseball this time around. Don't give up any outs, limit the walks. And of course, Moncada in that lineup should be a difference maker. He had 6 games in Charlotte. He was 7 for 22, slashed 318, 360, 636, had a couple home runs and 5 RBIs. Michael Kopech in his 5 games this year, 23 innings pitched, 23 strikeouts, and he's got that 1.17 ERA. Should be outstanding weather for the homestand. Monday, you could see temps in the high 70s, so that's usually great for Sox offense. Folks, really appreciate you making this podcast part of your daily routine. You can find the Locked On White Sox podcast everywhere you find podcasts. We are on Twitter and Instagram at Locked On Sox. You can find me on Twitter at Nick_GGTB. Thanks for making Locked On White Sox your first listen. Now make your second listen Locked On MLB. Paul Francis Sullivan, just call him Sully, brings you his unique perspective on the major leagues past and present. It's free and available wherever you get your podcasts. Coming up on the next episode, how did Kopech fare against Cleveland? And what did Moncada look like in his return? Really appreciate you making Locked On White Sox your first listen. I am Nick Morawski. Until next time, go Sox.